citizens of the world. The President of America has lied once again to the American people. Many of you do not care for the fact the entire United States government lies constantly, but this lie may very well cost you and millions of others their lives. We are anonymous. The forces that be in America and now Ukraine must be stopped. The government and media lying about both. And as the off-circuit security teams have warned, we will now take action. Hacks into NATO officials and others in a counterintelligence joint operation to expose the lie currently in the media as a cover-up for America trying to overthrow the Ukraine government, just as the shadow government has infiltrated and overthrown the US government. They are using a known ploy in the media, as they have done many times, to get the American population to go along with troops being sent to Ukraine. The Iraq War and Afghanistan War, they did the same. Manufacturing their own crisis to send in troops. You must not fall for this, America. Your life is at serious risk if Biden does not back down. Media are saying it is to help Ukraine, it is not. Russia is there to help defend Ukraine from American forces. We will use our counterintelligence information to expose the truth and the lies of all news outlets in America. United States, through its agents in Ukraine, will begin a series of false flag attacks on targets in Ukraine which have been designed to make it look as if they were carried out by the special forces of the Russian Federation. Many fakes and frauds claiming to be anonymous must be exposed as well, for it is true. Anyone can be or claim to be anonymous, but the misconception of what anonymous is will have to be clarified. Real anonymous operations and teams are not children trying to be cool or get likes. For most of us are ex-military or special forces, or come from the private sector like Lockheed Martin, or are ex-intelligence agents. Our intel deals with real-world issues and are heavily censored, as we are constantly being attacked by hacks or victims of targeted individual operations, as well as targeted by fake anon accounts to discredit our real intelligence gathering information. They will be exposed. For we know who is who and who is not. To these fakes I suggest closing your accounts now. Judgments will come without sympathy. And so this information has been made available, and was released through several forums used by Anonymous Ukraine. Members of Anonymous Ukraine, who are involved in what Anonymous has called Operation Independence, have independently verified that Anonymous is the source for the emails. Among the three key email is one containing the initial instructions from the U.S. Army Assistant Army Attaché Jason P. Gresh to a senior official of their General Staff of the Ukrainian Army named Igor Pritsyuk. Again, Anonymous has exposed treason by Ukrainian officials and the egregious illegal meddling of the United States into the affairs of a sovereign nation. Anonymous Ukraine is operating in what can only be described as a hot war zone, where almost all communications and internet access are either completely controlled and intercepted or have been shut down. Contacts in Anonymous Ukraine have also stated that there is a campaign by the US government and the current illegitimate regime. Anonymous Ukraine does not support what they call the Bandera Nazis because they do not represent the Ukrainian people. They have deposed the democratically elected president, they have destabilized the country, they have killed hundreds of peaceful Ukrainian, and they have completely taken over the media and the internet. Anonymous Ukraine has therefore stated that those running the Facebook page under Anonymous Ukraine are CIA and US government lackeys who are promoting Nazis and destroying their country before selling it to NATO, the US and the EU. This is all exactly what they have done in America using Black Lives Matter did the same style infiltration operations. Members of Anonymous Ukraine are in fear for their safety and have stated that the Bandera Nazis have issued orders to execute those responsible for previous releases of their hacked emails and the recording of telephone conversations that have been made available online. They have also noticed heightened activity by the NSA and CIA against all of their web resources. Anonymous Ukraine is monitoring all communications in Ukraine and also regularly attacking all NATO, NSA and CIA resources, as well as those of the UDA party, the Svoboda party, the offices and structures of the new government, and has intercepted almost all of the emails of the Bandera Nazis. With regard to Russia, a source If the people of Crimea want to join Russia, Anonymous supports the will of the people. The internet is still free in Crimea and the situation there is stable. However, members of the collective are extremely upset with the censorship that the Bandera Nazis have implemented. With regard to more leaks, our source said there is too much information but that they are getting almost everything. Whether this is true or not, this is certain: Anonymous has not backed off and is surely becoming a headache for the illegitimate authorities in Kiev. The members polled for this statement do not represent all of Anonymous. They represent a segment of the collective, currently active in Ukraine and other regions. Anonymous Ukraine statement. Greetings, citizens of the world. We are Anonymous Ukraine. Operation Independence Ukraine continues. Western hirelings and fascists are attempting to start a war with Russia in Ukraine. Much of Ukraine is now under the control of the Bandera Nazis, but all is not lost. We are winning. We continue to uncover and expose to their world the evil plans the United States, NATO, the European Union, the NSA, the CIA, the IMF and their corporate banker masters have for Ukraine. We will not let this stand. We will expose every detail of their plan. We will never forgive them for what they have done to Ukraine, and they will pay the cost. Ukraine has no government. Those in the Verkhovnaya Rada are self-appointed Nazi killers and do not represent the Ukrainian people. We repeat. Anonymous Ukraine continues to support peace and the right of the people of Ukraine and the Crimea to self-determination. The Bandera Nazis and fascist thugs that are pretending to be the voice of the people will be stopped. The US/NATO invasion of Ukraine will be stopped. Their puppets will be exposed and brought to justice. Murderers and fascist thugs who kill police and members of the security services of Ukraine do not represent the will or the wishes of the people of Ukraine. Nazis who deny the Nuremberg trials at the United Nations do not represent the will of the people. Anonymous Ukraine supports the Russians, Poles, Hungarians, Tatars, Jews and others that the Bandera Nazis want to kill. They are also anonymous. We have hacked the email correspondence of the US Army and the Nazi Trident in Ukraine, including the US Army Attaché's assistant in Kiev Jason Gresh and yet another high-ranking Bandera Nazi from the Ukrainian General Staff Igor Pritsik. The Western hirelings and traitors are planning to conduct a series of attacks on Ukrainian military bases in order to destabilize the situation in Ukraine. They want to stop the referendum in Crimea. They want war with Russia. The US Army writes to Igor Pritsik that it's time to implement a plan that implies causing problems to the transport hubs in the southeast of Ukraine in order to frame up the neighbor. It will create favorable conditions for Pentagon to act. Russia is Ukraine's friend. We Anonymous have witnessed the support for the people of Ukraine by Russia. Russia has kept order in Crimea while the Bandera Nazis have destroyed much of what the people cherish. The Bandera Nazis want blood and war for Ukraine. Then they will sell Ukraine to NATO and the United States and take their money to another country like Juliet Tymoshenko, whose accounts we have also hacked and which we can empty at will. The United States and its puppets in Ukraine want to start a war with Russia. Biden, like Obama, cannot be allowed to kill the peoples of the world any longer. The Bandera Nazis refuse to return Ukraine to the people. They do not listen. Citizens of the world. We repeat. The people of Ukraine do not want European Union integration. The people of Ukraine do not want NATO on their territory. The people of Ukraine voted for President Yanukovych to lead them in fair and just democratic elections. He is still the president of Ukraine. The people of Ukraine plead to the president and to Russia for help in ending the siege of Ukraine by Nazi thugs and murderous gangs. The people of Ukraine do not want to see their beloved capital Kiev occupied by Western hirelings and Bandera Nazis. The people of Ukraine want their independence to be recognized and be allowed to determine their own fate without pressure from US, NATO, European Union. The people of Ukraine want peace and want the Bandera Nazis to be stopped once and for all. Anonymous Ukraine does not like nor support what is happening in Ukraine now. Anonymous Ukraine thanks President Putin for protecting President Yanukovych. We appeal to the president of our country who is hiding in Russia to return to Ukraine and restore order and rid Ukraine of the Bandera Nazis and the Western hirelings. Anonymous Ukraine calls for Ukraine to be unified and independent. The government of Ukraine promoted the country's integration into Euro-Atlantic institutions despite the reluctance of Ukrainian people. Ukrainian citizens realize that signing of the association agreement with the European Union will lead to the collapse of Ukrainian economy in the near future. We express our support to the people of our country. We want Ukrainian government and EU leadership to understand that people of Ukraine do not want their country to become a raw material donor to Europe. Ukraine must be free. We do not want to be dependent on other countries or organizations. Ukrainian people do not need a speculative association agreement with the European Union. Ukraine does not need the International Monetary Fund or the Western banksters and their conditions. We do not need to be servants of NATO. Ukraine does not need the European Union. Ukraine does not need NATO. Ukraine should not be anybody's servant. Ukraine is not a cheap prostitute for Biden. The Russian people of Ukraine make up a hardworking and intelligent part of Ukrainian society. The Russian people are brothers and sisters to the Ukrainian people. We do not support demonizing the Russian people. We do not support making the Russian language illegal, and we do not support the destruction of monuments and churches by the Bandera Nazis. We stand for independent Ukraine. We declare the continuation of Operation Independence. We will strike at the web, resources of countries and organizations that pose a threat to freedom and independence of Ukraine. The Bandera Nazis did not listen. Their leader Dmitry Yarosh will soon understand what the words "expect us" mean. They have proven the weak cowards that we knew they were. We will continue to take their sites down and publish every communication they make. We will continue attacking all of their web resources. Anonymous does not attack media sources, but that is when the media is free. The Bandera Nazi media can therefore expect us. We will protect Ukraine from Western hirelings and fascists that are trying to hurl Ukraine into chaos. We do not want them to start a war. We are Anonymous Ukraine. We are the patriots of our country. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Do not expect us.